The future for Vietnam is digital. In January 2020, more than 70% of Vietnam residents have access to the internet. Does your typical day look like this? These are just examples of how our life is going digital. We're entering the digital economy with, well, just a tap of the finger. Simply put, digital economy refers to all economic transactions over the internet. The backbone of the digital economy is hyperconnectivity, which means growing interconnectedness of people, organizations, and machines that results from the internet and mobile technology. That's right, you're a vital cog in the wheel of digital transformation and digitalization. The COVID-19 pandemic has seen a rapid acceleration of the digitalization of industry like never before. Digital financial market is also being transformed in the digital economy. On board with the digitalization trend, financial technology, including big data, blockchain, peer-to-peer lending, and crowdsourcing, is revolutionizing the financial services sector. At RMIT, we recognize this growing trend, and we are excited to offer the very first few courses in Vietnam tailored to this need, supported by our state-of-the-art facility and our team of dedicated and experienced lecturers, making sure you are well-equipped to capture the opportunities as well as take on the challenges of this exciting new world. We offer authentic assessments and industry engagement embedded in assessments to solve real business problems. We prepare students for the rapidly evolving workplace and digital economy. We aim to provide students with real-world skills. RMIT is a practical place of learning where students would leave ready for employment.
Hello everyone, good afternoon distinguished guests, colleges and students. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our workshop on Fintech and Blockchain Startups, which is part of the RMIT Fintech Blockchain competition. I'm Linh Nguyễn, lecturer at RMIT Vietnam, and it's my honor to be your host today. We're gathering today to gain greater insight about Fintech, blockchain, startup ecosystem, and advice for students to prepare for and be successful in the RMIT Fintech Blockchain competition. So please now let me introduce our agenda for today. Next slide, please. So now I would like to invite Professor Robert McClellan, the Deputy Dean, School of Business and Management, RMIT Vietnam, to deliver his welcome address. Please welcome Professor Bob.
Hi everybody and welcome. Today this is a training workshop on fintech and blockchain startups as part of the RMIT Fintech Blockchain competition for 2021. We collaborate with Zone Startups Vietnam, and this is a follow-up event to our kickoff event which we hosted on the 21st of March 2021. We have a presenter today, Mr. Kung Nguyen, who's CFA qualified, and he is co-founder and chief executive officer at Fund In. We also today have a guest speaker joining the panel, and there will be a discussion with Ms. Quinn Vo, Zone Startups, and also Vietnam's program director, and also Dr. Huy Pham, RMIT's Vietnam's finance lecturer. We welcome questions today as part of this competition, and you can ask questions via our Q&A chat box. So I do hope you enjoy this event and find it very useful as part of the competition. We welcome you from RMIT Vietnam. Please enjoy the session.
Thank you very much, Professor Ba, for the warm welcome. Now, I would like to invite everyone to watch our competition video to better understand about the competition.
Are you passionate about financial technology? Did you know that LinkedIn declared blockchain to be the most in-demand job skill for 2020 and beyond? Did you also know that, according to McKinsey, blockchain is the backbone of Industry 4.0, a major revolution that is transforming information transparency, assistance, and interconnection? If you knew all this, then the RMIT Fintech blockchain competition is for you. Blockchain has many more applications than Bitcoin and crypto assets. With blockchain, strangers can trust each other, transact peer-to-peer for the first time in the economy, without the need for intermediaries such as governments or commercial banks. This means that blockchain technology can be of huge benefit to industries where data security, transparency, and traceability are important, especially in finance. To join the RMIT Fintech blockchain competition, you must be either a current student at a university in Vietnam or a current student at a high school in Vietnam. You will form a team with 3 members. University teams will submit a business plan or a white paper which tackles the problem in economics and finance and helps power a more inclusive financial system. High school teams will submit a business plan or a white paper which uses blockchain and fintech to solve a real-world problem and build a better society. In round 1, our judges will select the 3 best high school team proposals and the 3 best university team proposals. These teams will be offered one-on-one mentoring by our experts to improve their project. In round 2, the 6 teams will present their final project to our judges live in Ho Chi Minh City. The best high school and the best university team will be the winners of the RMIT Fintech Blockchain competition. There will be exciting prizes for all 6 finalists, with special prizes for the 2 champions. So, are you ready? Then register now for the RMIT Fintech Blockchain competition and keep visiting our Facebook page for more information and updates.
Thank you. So everyone, the competition is open for all high school and university students in Vietnam. So please know that the first round submission deadline is on the 16th of May 2021. Please visit our website and Facebook page for the most updated information. So now it is our great pleasure to introduce Mr. Cường Nguyen, CFA, co-founder and CEO at Funding, a VC-backed buy now, pay later leader in Vietnam. Prior to that, Mr. Cường was investment manager at Vietnam Holding Asset Management and had extensive experience in investment fund and investment research. He graduated with a bachelor degree in finance from La Trobe University, Australia, and has been a CFA charter holder since 2016. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Cường. Over to you.
Hello, thank you for having me. We're really happy to be here to tell you a little bit about fintech and some about buy now pay later. So yeah, so we'd love to tell you a little bit about fintech, and especially for 15 minutes, I would like to focus on 3 main things. So next slide, please. So the first thing is how potential Vietnam is in terms of financial services, and secondly, don't reinvent the wheel. And last one is funding case, how we apply the idea. So next slide, please. We strongly believe Vietnam is an amazing market for financial services because we are really lags behind compared to other countries, especially in the regions of Singapore or the US. The two key figures that we normally use to indicate how underdeveloped or untapped market we are right now is in terms of financial services. Is the first one is how many banks account do we have, which means that what percentage of the population have bank accounts. It's the first layers. It's a very standard layers for financial. Is the first step for people to have any service in terms of financial services. In Vietnam, there's only 31% of the population have bank accounts compared to like Singapore, roughly 100%. More than 90% of the population have bank account. In Thailand, more than 80% have bank accounts. So we majority of the population in Vietnam, like 69%, doesn't have any activity, does not being served, even like transfer the money for banks. And this, of course, bank account is the first step, but we also have another terms, which is underserved or underserved banking services. So one figures you can understand more how underserved we are is through the number of people have credit cards. Its credit card require more than just a simple ID. Credit cards indicates how trustful the system is or how credit worthy the people or Vietnamese people are. Right now in Vietnam, only 4.1% or less than 5% have credit cards, and it's very low compared to Singapore. Roughly 50% of the people have credit cards, or in the U.S. the same in the U.S. and in some other countries. So we really underserved in terms of financial services, and Vietnam is very potential. And we expect in the next few years there are lots and lots of services from startup, because startup moving fast. We cannot wait, right? Especially there's a boom in internet and mobile phones. There's a lot of services provided by Fintech to meet the gap, to fill up the gap in the market. Next slide, please. The next idea is don't reinvent the wheel. I heard this from one of the CEO of a platform, e-commerce platform in Vietnam. It told me don't reinvent the wheel. The idea is we lag behind compared with other countries in terms of infrastructure, and innovation will evolve with conditions. So we need infrastructure to have to be able to provide certain services and products. Let me give you an example. Is for the case of Grab and Uber. So in the foundation or the criteria for Grab and Uber to operate on the app platform is 3G, because without 3G, Uber cannot operate. So, you know, Uber started back in 2009 and Grab in 2012, but both entered Vietnam in 2014, because in 2013, Vietnam have 3G. And that's like the criteria is the right timing for both of them to enter. And then with Grab and Uber operating to the certain scale, the next question for them is, okay, they have thousands of drivers, but there's certain time frame that the driver is free, so they need to provide other services. So there will be Grab food and Grab delivery or some kind of other next services. So product and services evolve with condition, with infrastructure. That happens the same as in other services like e-commerce. So we have internet, and then we have e-commerce, and then because of e-commerce to scale, we need payment services. We need delivery services. So that's the condition for the ecosystem to evolve. So don't reinvent the wheel, because Vietnam's lags behind in terms of infrastructure. You should look at the U.S. or China, because they, we can say like many years before us, so they already built up based on infrastructure, and we can look at them as an example what will happen in Vietnam in the next few years when we match them in terms of infrastructure. So we next slide, please. So you can look at the fintech ecosystem on the map. It's done by Roy Finholm, and you can look most of the financial services on this map. You actually already have proven models in other countries, in the U.S. or in China. Any of them, any of the startup here is learning from the existing model in other countries. It's very difficult if you want to create something completely new, unique in the world. The chance is very, very low for you to be successful. And we talked to many investors, and the first thing is they ask which model we are doing. Do we have the same model that works in other countries? So I think we should learn from other countries instead of create something new for the first time in the world. Next slide, please. So yeah, because of that, the problem is timing. When we have the infrastructure, and with that infrastructure, what is the next product and services that will be available, and we should start first, and using that model, adapt to local market. Like Uber in the US, they started with cars because they use car like 100% in the US, but in Vietnam, a lot of these motorbikes, is the first one to apply motorbike to the local market. Is the clear winner, as we know today. Next slide, please. So now we want to tell you a bit about funding case. Next slide, please. We started out as we understand the pains of the consumers, especially the young consumers. Young consumers, let's say they have the first job. They left university and they got a first job. Their salary is 8 to 10 millions, but their behavior is they want to enjoy life. They want to have parties. They want to buy shoes. They buy clothes. They buy cosmetics. They never think about saving. So because of that, most of the salary that they earn, they spend completely 100% their monthly salary. So the problem arises is some months they're gonna spend more, some months they're gonna spend less. So that makes them to experience the pain that they have to control the cash inflow from salary and cash outflow from expense. So that problem actually have been solved by credit cards. But in Vietnam, only 4% of the population have credit cards. The reason why is only for you to have credit cards, it costs you like 1 to 2 weeks for a credit check. They call to your companies. They ask you for a lot of documents. The second thing is they do offline KYC, so it means that the bank people will visit your companies to see you face to face to do that. So the journey is really painful. And the last one, it's not user friendly. It's that you have to pay a certain fee, like $100 every year, like annual fee, and there's certain hidden fee and charges. They will not alert you that you are about to go due, so you don't know that you have to pay. So after the next few days you late, they charge you a fee. So that's they don't have that user friendly. Next slide, please. So we experience that pain, but how do we solve that? Is there any available proven model in other countries that can solve the problems? And we see that there's certain very big successful proven model in other countries, like Afterpay in Australia, Klarna in Europe, in Affirm in the US. Most of them is very successful today. And of course, they have different models as well, even though they all solve the problems that have you to buy the product now and pay over time. But for Afterpay, it's 100% interest-free. But for Klarna and Affirm, it's both 0% interest, but they also charge you interest for some of the term. So there's a proven model. So we choose Afterpay because we think it's the best to serve customer in Vietnam. Next slide, please. So in order to provide the service, buy now pay later service in Vietnam, we have to leverage on data in AI to have an instant credit approval, and of course we had to restructure the credit product so that it's safer, because all of us, you understand that the credit risk in Vietnam is higher than in other countries, so we have to restructure a little bit in terms of credit product, and we have to use more data to make sense of the credit. Next one, please. So we leverage on data, so in AI, so that we can have a seamless experience. So it's fast and it's easy. We only need to have that transaction in a single photo of ID card, and the data is going through our system called Integrity Scoring Engine. Within 5 seconds, we make a decision. Next slide, please. So for us, there's two things that we mentioned before: whether we in the right timing and whether we adapt to local market well. The first is about timing. Just last 1 or 2 years, there's a huge availability of data. So there's a lot of data available in the market that we can accumulate and we can buy from to make sense of the credit worthiness of a person, of a user. And secondly, there's infrastructure in terms of credit check. The first one is OCR. OCR means that is the service for us when we try to take a single photo of the ID card. We can extract all the data on that photo into digital information, and that's very important for this service to evolve. And secondly is the eKYC. eKYC means that how do we identify that single person on the online platform, which means that we don't see them face to face. So the availability of how to match the photo, your face photo on the ID and your selfie, how to match that, and it works. So it's the right timing. It just happened in the last 2 years, and that's why it's a foundation for us to evolve and adapting. When you look at buy now pay later in another country, for example, in the Australia, there's the majority of the people have a bank card. They use Visa and MasterCard, so they can auto charge you instantly. But in Vietnam, like less than 20% of our customers have a bank card, so we cannot auto charge them. So we have to do it manually. So we have to build a system to automatically call, alert the customers that that it's the right time for them to make a payment. And the same thing is, in other countries, use the bank card to do the eKYC, because on the bank card there's your name, so they know that that's your card. But in Vietnam, our customer doesn't have a bank card, so we have to use alternative data, any data that are available, like telco data and any other, like your purchases on the e-commerce data to verify who you are. Next slide, please. Oh, so that's it. So that's 3 key main things that I want to deliver today. Thank you for your listening.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kuhn, for your interesting presentation. Now, I would like to invite everyone to participate in today's panel discussion. It is our honor to have Ms. Nguyen Vo, Program Director of Zone Startup Vietnam. Ms. Nguyen has extensive experience in business development in many different multinational corporations before joining Big Capital Security to manage multiple projects. After her time as a marketing manager with Force Vietnam, Ms. Win joined the Economic and Trade Mission with the Israeli Embassy in Vietnam as Southern Business Development Manager to take care of the sustainable economic trade and financial relations between Israel and Vietnam. Now, next one, we will have Mr. Cương Nguyen, co-founder and CEO at Funding. And then the next guest speaker is we have Dr. Huy Phạm, lecturer at RMIT Vietnam, also a coordinator of RMIT Fintech Crypto Hub. Dr. Huy Phạm is an experienced researcher and lecturer with a demonstrated history of working in the higher education industry. Dr. Phạm has several publications in international economics and finance journals and books. His research interests include fintech, cryptocurrency, environmental finance, and asset pricing. He is one of the most sought after finance and fintech experts for research and media comments in Vietnam. So please welcome our distinguished guest speakers today, everyone. Now, in this panel discussion, our guests will share their knowledge and experiences in fintech, blockchain, and their valuable advice for students, as well as answer any question you may have. Please type the question in the chat box. Okay, so now let's get started, everyone. So we just had a very interesting presentation about fintech and startup from Mr. Cương. So now let's talk about blockchain. Although it started back in 2008 and 2009 when Satoshi Nakamoto wrote the famous Bitcoin white paper, blockchain is still very new to many people. At RMIT, we are offering exciting courses such as financial technology, crypto finance and cryptocurrency, the blockchain economy, civil and criminal issue in the digital world. But it's still very new to many people, to our audience today. And Dr. Huy is an expert in blockchain and crypto token. So Huy, can I just start with you? Can you please share with us, first of all, what blockchain is in the most basic way? How does it work? Please.
Okay, thanks, Linh. Can you hear me clearly, Linh?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, so for a blockchain, if you take it simply, it's just a place where you store data. And the one of the key points of blockchain is that the data that is on the blockchain network, it is relatively safer compared to other databases. Because for example, if you take the Bitcoin blockchain, for example, when you have put when there's data on the Bitcoin blockchain, it is almost impossible for any hackers to hack any data that is available on that Bitcoin blockchain, because it would require a massive computing power to really attack the Bitcoin network and extract the data. And I don't want to go into too much detail into how blockchain works, because it will be half an hour lecture, I think. But you just take it as a place where you store the data, and it is hard for the hackers to attack and get those data. So that is the key features that you can think of when we might have many teams here who will be implementing blockchain in your project. So, and now again, when I mentor the teams that involved in the blockchain fintech competition, one of the problem is that it is not about the tech, it is about the cost involved in the blockchain itself. So for those teams who plan to use blockchain in your project, please think about the cost as well, because most of the time I see the team focus on the tech side, and they don't care too much about the cost. All right, so
great.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Dr. Huy. Now, one more question for you. So can you give us one example, the very simple example of the application of blockchain in business?
In business, I have seen, we have banks, for example, RFBC, who've been issuing the, who used to issuing the bond. It is kind of government securities using the blockchain. And in Vietnam, we can have something called, I don't know, couldn't remember the name, but they track down the mangoes. But they use the blockchain technology to track all the mangles and make sure that the data is protected and is reliable for everybody.
Oh, great!
So one simple example that will be considered as the blockchain application in supply chain management. Yep, supply chain management. Yes.
Yeah, great. So we can put all the data on the blockchain, and then it's going to be there. Everyone can access to that data, and everyone can see the data. And then miners will approve the data so that we can apply that for the supply chain management, like traceability, like the mangles that you just mentioned, right? That's wonderful.
Right.
Yeah.
And we have many other applications in insurance.
Yeah,
banking,
definitely.
Finance. Yeah. So quite a number of projects are working on that as well.
Yeah. So can you give any, you have any forecast about the future prospect of blockchain technology? Ms. Nguyen and Mr. Kuhn, please feel free to add in.
So I'll start first then.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, one of the biggest issues that I see with the blockchain is that the cost. Now, if you want to build a new blockchain network, then it will take you a lot of resources, and you need to have enough nodes like computers to really protect the network. If you have a private blockchain, and then from a company perspective, does it really improve the company operation, or it just costs too much? Now, guys, when you work on this fintech blockchain competition, I know there's a blockchain work there, but do not try to implement blockchain at all costs. Because very often when I mentor the teams, they say, hey, I really ask them, hey, do we really need blockchain to solve this problem? They say, hey, no, just because the competition has the name blockchain, they want to put blockchain in there. All right. So when you really apply blockchain, just think about it. Do we really need blockchain to solve the problems, right? So anyway, in the future, I see that there will be many more companies who implement blockchain, but I would say most of them will be in the crypto space. For example, we have NFT, non-fungible tokens, all right, and all the projects that involve in that space right there, and cryptocurrency in general, right? So I would think that blockchain is more about the financial services is one, and the NFT is one as well. Yeah, that's what I see in the future. Yes.
Great. So it's about cost and benefit analysis, right? So of course, blockchain technology gets a lot of benefits, but then it's go with the cost as well. So you need to sort of balance between these two, whether the benefit exceed the cost, and then you can go ahead, right? Okay.
That's right.
Can I please ask Mr. Kuhn and Ms. Nguyen, what do you think about the future prospect of blockchain technology? Let's start with Ms. Nguyen.
Hi, everyone. Hello. The future of blockchain. Wow, it's a big question. I think blockchain, I'm not expert in blockchain, but according to what I know, not only cryptocurrency is a big thing right now, right? But in business, I've seen a lot like KYC that Kuhn just mentioned. So one of the things that can apply blockchain instantly right now, because it's the need of stay home, and you don't need to go to the bank, but the bank knows where you were when you log in, stuff like that. And also Vietnam is trying to the hospitality side is also trying to apply it. For example, let's say not hospitality, but in medical, let's say in medical. So the government Ministry of Health already trying to apply blockchain into medical health record, personal health record. So it's allow you to go everywhere with one, let's say, code, a photo only, and they know it's exactly you, and you can even create your personal medicine, the medicine that's unique only for you, let's say.
Yeah. So that's excellent. Thank you very much for sharing. So we have different applications across different industries, right? And it's really sort of bring more convenience for user. Yeah, thank you. And Mr. Kuhn, can I please have what do you think about the future prospect of blockchain technology?
Oh, well, for blockchain,
It's a big question, right?
Yeah, it's frankly, I'm not an expert at blockchain, and most of my time is focusing solving the existing problem with buy now pay later, and the blockchains. Of course, you have to start with what problems you face, and you're trying to solve that instead of trying to do something, to apply something. So you have to start with the problems, and the problem that we face has nothing to do with blockchain, but from what we do, there's certain areas, I'm not sure, but certain areas that can use leverage on blockchain if it's about the data. So the data in Vietnam right now can easily manipulate it. For example, ID card. ID card you can put a photo of anyone on the ID card, and so the data is not secure. Of course, there's a new data ID card that implemented by the government, and hopefully the data is accurate and cannot be edited. So that's one way. I'm not sure they use blockchain or not, but we think that the data security and data accuracy is important, and maybe it can be used by blockchain to improve. And that's one my point.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Now, so let's turn to Ms. Nguyen. I have some questions for you. So I know with your tremendous experience in venture capital startups, as far as I know, Zone Startup Vietnam is an international startup accelerator program invested in high growth startups, especially in innovation technology. So can you share with us some, highlights and trends in innovation technology startup in Vietnam, as well as in the region? Some highlights and trends, in innovation technology startups that you see.
Sure. So let's say some highlight is, recently Vietnam became one of the fastest and also in top 3 most innovations and technology applied it in Southeast Asia, can be in Asia also. So we just behind, let's say, Singapore and Indonesia only. Before that, we also behind Malaysia and other country, but now we're in top 3. And also last year, I think, we can say that we can be in top 2.
That's great.
That is something very promising for Vietnam tech industry. For the trend I think from now into the next 2-3 years, we will focus into prop tech. So the reason why is that COVID happened, and then a lot of, let's say, tenants and people, office people especially, realized that all of a sudden they realized that they don't need to sit in the office anymore. They can work everywhere. So other than the listed platform like before, now it's focused more into the added service to increase the stickiness and let's say attractiveness of the tenants to the owner of the building, let's say. The next one will be EdTech. EdTech is sure, always in top 5 of the best sectors in terms of technologies focus, especially right now for the distant and online learning. Definitely there's a lot of room. And then, of course, Fintech is one of the best. And the next one, with the realization of the needs of the digital transformation from the SME to the big enterprise, especially in the banking system. So is a hot pot right now. In terms of the technology advantage, together with big data, AI, blockchain, could be a game changer in the next few years, focusing on digital identity itself only. So we've been mentioned a lot about eKYC, so meaning that the customer no longer need to come face to face with the bank to open a bank account, and all process will take place online with, a photo that you take of your face, 3D face, and then a photo of your ID. That's it. For that, so blockchain and what's it called, biometric, will be widely applied and established. Track and maintain the digital identities, things like that. And then thanks to COVID, I think e-commerce will have, a lot of rooms to grow. So I think, and COVID also trained the market to change from offline to online right now in a very short time. So logistics also with e-commerce will be something, something that the market, especially at the fund like us, could look into. So on and on, it's going to be PropTech, EdTech, FinTech, e-commerce, and logistics.
Yeah, great to hear that. It's really exciting to hear about, the technology, the digital transformation in many different areas in our society. And it's really bring, a lot of benefit and convenience for people. So the COVID-19, I know this is really sort of things that people say, hey, this is really bad. And, people everywhere got problems and it's not good. But then, to some extent that it's really changed the way that we work, and we realize that, we can work at home, we can be really flexible, and, it changed, right? It creates sort of change for many different industries, and then this is where technology can jump in and make everything become better. Yeah, thank you so much, Ms. Win. Now let's talk about the advice for students in the competition. So let me go back to Dr. Huy Phạm, and because I know that you are an experienced mentor, judge for many national and international competition, especially in the area of blockchain and fintech as well. So what would be your advice for students who participate in this competition? How to become a champion? We have few champions.
Well, the first one would be the problems. Well, is the problem big enough, and can it change the life of many people? What is the target audience actually of the product that you are developing? Yeah, that would be the key point here. Because if you don't know the problem, or the problem is too small, then even if your solution is beautiful, it might end up being useless because, well, you cannot help many people here. And if your product is cannot reach as many people as possible, then your company or eventually might not be profitable. And then the startup will die out eventually. So that is one thing. When you so the problem is one. Then next is the solution. And well, you have the problems, you have the solution. Is it a good solution? Is it the best in the market? Do you really innovate something here, or are you trying to do something a little bit different from what other people have been doing? In like how do you differentiate your products to others? Right? Is it new? Is it improved? Is it better than other companies? And then the next one would be about the and then now one thing that I see very often is that the finance. How would you calculate the cost, the revenue of your project? Right? How many people are you expect to reach out? What is the how much you will charge the people? How many products are you you expect to sell, for example? And what does it cost you? Right? And will the cost be able to be offset by the revenue? All right, and then and how long will it take? Yeah. Right. So there are quite a number of things that you should consider, but those are the fundamentals. At the minimum, you should have those things in your we call white paper. Right? Yeah, business proposal. White paper. In your proposal. That is the minimum that I expect to see in. Of course, there are many other factors, but those are the key points that I expect to see. Yep. Thank you. Yeah, that's really helpful. Thank you very much. Now, can I please ask Mr. Kuhn, because you co-founded a fintech firm, so
You're very experienced in this area because you know what, in the competition, students are required to, develop a business plan, a white paper in order to tackle for university students. They're gonna build up a more financial inclusive system using fintech or blockchain. And then for high school students, they will build up, they will have an idea, a business plan to build up a better society using fintech and blockchain. So now, as a co-founder of a fintech firm, how, first of all, do you have any challenges, or now when you run the firm and when you turn such an exciting idea to real business, any challenges?
Okay,
A
so
lot, right?
yeah, a lot of questions. So let's start with how can we find out a business model that can work.
Yeah, okay.
First, it all has to start with the pain, which means that you have to feel that something doesn't work. So how do you find the pains? By every day you interact with people, you interact with one product or services. You have to feel that it some way it doesn't work. For example, you go to a restaurant, and when you pay, you want to use your credit card or your Visa and MasterCard, but the restaurant doesn't allow that. So you have to start asking questions. Why can I pay via card? And then you realize that the bank charges like 2% or 3% on per transaction. So that the restaurant, they have a very thin margin. Why do they have to pay 3% to the bank? So you have to keep asking that, and someday you're gonna realize there's some big pains happening right now, and you will have the idea how to solve it. And then the next stage is you already feel the pain. Then what's the model that works? And you look at the U.S., to China, and some similar countries, and you find out the similar model that have been used to solve your problems in Vietnam, for example. And then you have to dig deeper. What is the criteria for that to work? What the right timing means here in Vietnam? For example, why now? Why the models only work now, not 10 years ago? If it can work 10 years ago, then why haven't been the model in Vietnam? So what's the key criteria? What has happened in the last 1 or 2 years so that this model can work in Vietnam? And then you start next stage to adapt that to local market. What's different compared with the US to China, and what's different in terms of competition, in terms of financial products and services in Vietnam? For example, in other countries, there's a lot of cards. In Vietnam, they like 90% of the transaction on e-commerce is via COD or cash payment. And so you have to apply that to local market and to make it work. So my advice is to eventually you have to start early and you have to learn quickly, because starting a startup is which means especially innovation startup means that you have to compete with the large corporation that existing today. They're already solving something already. Yeah. So you compete with a big one, and it's very difficult. It's like you are in the dark forest, and you're trying to look for the right path to success, and you have to learn quickly, because you may go to one direction and it turns out it does not work, and you have to change quickly. You learn from that and you change quickly. When you change at a good number of times, then hopefully you can find out the light at the end of the forest.
So do not give up, right? Do not give up.
Yeah,
I mean, you have an idea.
Yeah, of course, because failures means you do one product and it fails. You have to update that solution, that product, so that it serves better. And over time, when you update enough, someday you're gonna find out the product that fits the market, and it can scale at a larger scale. So failures happen every day. So you gotta keep on solving the problems. Do not give up, is of course, and do not burn a lot of money on the chance, because when you burn a lot in the early days, which means that you don't have the flood to survive the journey.
Okay, so very good. Thank you so much. Now let I just sum up for the student, huh? So now let's you should start with a problem, like the pain that you just said, right? The problem, and then you trying to find a model, a suitable model to solve that problem, to bring economic significance, right? Okay,
Yeah.
So for example, in our competition would be for high school students to build up, we make it general, build up a better society. So any problem in the society that you can tackle using fintech and blockchain to make economic significance. So problem first, and then business model. So as you mentioned, then students do not need to come up with a totally brand new idea, but then they can get an idea, the existing model from other country, and then think about the two key things, timing and adaptability, right? Okay, is it the perfect time to start here, and how would you adapt the existing model into the local context in Vietnam or any other context, and then keep learn quickly because things keep changing. Yeah. Thank you so much. That will be very helpful. The last question from me to the guest speaker before I start. I have received a lot of questions from the audience, everyone. So save the last question for Ms. Win. Now, I understand that every year Zone Startups Vietnam screen hundreds of startup ideas to choose the best one to provide capital. So what make the good business model? What characteristics would you look for in a good startup idea, good business model? Can you share with us?
Okay, good business model for me is a model that you can make money. So it means that it's a short term, but it means that good business model means your customer, where you should sell your products and where's your pipeline, and if you know the market, meaning you do something that the market needs, but it's not what the market wants. For us, we always say that with our mentors, because if you want something, you can wait for 2 years to buy it. But if you need something right now, for example, if the company needs to apply, let's say blockchain to store the data, they will have to do it immediately. But if I just want to do that, I can do it in the next 2 years, different phases. So for me, a good business model, frankly, is the model that can bring the revenue into your business, can help you to solve financial problem at your office, at your team, meaning you enough of cash to pay salary for all of your team for their devotion every month. So it's a good business model. In terms of criteria and how we make decision to at Zone Startup, every year we interview. In a good year, we interview up to 200.
200.
Yeah, thanks to Tech Fest and all of the events that the government and also other organizations organize. So in a good year, we have like around 100 to 200 applications.
Can I ask what is the acceptance rate? Can you share?
So you can find out on our website at vietnamzone.com. So we are a bit selective. Let's say picky. We pick up about 1% up to 2%. Yes. So we focus in B2B enterprise software technology. So every year we take around 10 to maximum 15 company in our portfolio. So that because we do one-on-one training and one-on-one mentorship, so we take enough so that good quality of the startup in our criteria, so that we can train them, we can host them, and we can invest into them. So funding is one of the company that we invested like a couple of months ago. So our criteria is quite easy because we are the accelerator program, and we also have seed fund. So we invest into the company with 3 criteria only. First of all, the founding team. We want to make sure that there's a good, hardworking, understand the market founders. If it's a technology company, there should be CTO, and then they know all of the data. They should have, people who works on the numbers. If the market is big enough, and if they try to solve a big problem, if there are solutions for a big problem. So that's all three criteria that we look into the team. And then if it's at the right time, we invest into the team. If it's not, we still need to do due diligence a little bit. We're going to take them into our accelerator program.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone, for your valuable insight and advice for students. Now I have received so many questions from the students. So let me start with the first one. How do you think about applying blockchain in tackling debt? Blockchain, and I would go with Dr. Huy, please. What do you think? Applying blockchain in tackling debt?
Okay, I'm not sure what kind of debt they are talking about. Is it the your personal debt? Okay. Well, look. In my perspective, blockchain doesn't have anything to do with debt here, because that's what I think. But it also depends on what you are trying to deal with, because if your product is a financial product and you have blockchain in it, you have to think whether, all right, how does it help? Because for blockchain, take it simply just a place where you put the information there, you put those data up on the blockchain, and when you want to retrieve it, you download the data back to your system, or anyone who wants to have access to the to those data. All right, you will give them a key, and then you can get the data. So, so from the debt here perspective, maybe if you want to borrow some money and run away, and you don't want anyone to chase you. All right, so if you put those debt on the blockchain, then yes, they know who you are and they know where you are running. All right, so they can track you until the end of your life. Okay, so well, if you want to do that, yes. All right.
Interesting.
But apart from that, I don't see any potential with blockchain in tackling debt.
Yeah, thank you so much. Now we have some question. I think this is for me. How many rounds in the competition? Okay, so I can answer you guys right away. There are 2 rounds. The first round, which is the deadline is on the 16th of May, 2021. So this is the first round that the student, a group of 3, from team, 3 student, a team, to submit a business plan or white paper. Okay, and that will be the first round. After the first round, we will choose 6 finalists, 3 high schools and then 3 university. Then we will be offering one-on-one mentor. So you will be mentored by a professional in the fintech and blockchain area to make your project better. And then after that, the second round would be the presentation one, the pitching one. So the 6 finalists will present the idea in front of the judges in Ho Chi Minh City, and then we will choose 2 champions, 1 in high school category and 1 in university category. The next one I can also answer as well. Who can join the competition? So any students, guys, in Vietnam, high school student, university student, we have 2 different categories. So high school will compete with high school student, university will compete with university student. Anyone can join, any student can join. Now, let me see. I think we have a very interesting question about fintech. What is your point of view on the societal impact of fintech on domains other than finance and logistics, say agriculture and livestock, environment and food security? Is the scenario of why fintech application in those domains likely in the near future, within the next 10 years, for example? So let me sum up your point of view on the the impact on the society in say agriculture, livestock, environment, food security when you apply fintech in these areas. Okay, the impact. And then so let's go with the first part first, the potential impact of fintech in these areas. Can I invite, is that clear enough for you guys? So the question from the
should answer this.
Sorry?
I think Kun should answer this.
Cool.
Okay.
Mr. Coons,
Thank you. Yeah, sure.
please.
So, fintech is just one product and services to serve people or businesses. So we every day we buy like fruits, we buy meats, we live in an environment, or we even in other services like we buy product and services, we travel, we buy insurance, we everything we do normally we have to involve with payment or fintech already. And for also, for example, in terms of agriculture, particularly, there's some farmers, there's some companies that grow that fruit, manufacture that fruit. So those companies, those farmers, they need financing. So they need to borrow money to invest in their farming. So fintech is actually helping both consumers and businesses in that sense. And what we can do easily to see is to reduce the interest rate, the cost of borrowing money. It's easily see is like in the US, the cost of borrowing is very low, like one single digits, but in Vietnam it's two double digits, which means that more than 10%. When you borrow money to invest, you have to pay more than 10% a year. It's very costly, and it's reduced the competitiveness of a country and of the business when we have to compete globally. And for the people, when the interest rate, or for example, right now we do 0% to have consumers to buy things, to buy products, to buy even in the near future is food as well, and pay later at zero cost. So that for that product, we have increased the consumption. We have easing out the pains when they pay for the thing that they need to buy. So that's the impact on both consumers and the business in most of the areas, most of the industry, including agriculture, environmental, food, even the travel, even the milk, for example, and any industry will be affected by fintech.
Okay, thank you very much.
Just want to add.
Yeah, please.
I just want to add in something. So
Yeah.
I think, have to make it clear, fintech is financial technologies, right? Everything related to financials, money, you can apply that, buy now, pay later, P2P sharing, everything. But you asked about, let's say agriculture, livestock, environment, food, security, they have different, agriculture have, to have, if you have any problem, you have solution for that. But if you ask about social impact regarding fintech, there will be many applications in that. For example, there was a company doing, they can pay your salary. If you want to borrow your salary, they can, what is it called? Lend you the money to pay for the salary first. So it's one of the impact, the social impact for that. So for example, social impact is something really new in Vietnam. It means that whatever you do and you support back to the society, the people, and the poverty. So lately, fintech has been applying to social impact a lot. For example, as I mentioned, the factory people, they don't have money. They have to wait for a paycheck every month. So they apply fintech into the salary payment, so that you work for 5 days. You can ask your HR manager, your boss, to pay you first before you have the paycheck. So it's one of the social impact that helps a lot of factory people back then. So there's a lot of things that a technology, a tech company in fintech can support back into the society. If you want to ask about society impact.
Okay, thank you so much. Now the next question, I think this is for Dr. Huy Phạm. Can you elaborate on how can we evaluate or estimate the cost of blockchain application? And like, how much will it cost if we decide to set up a crypto network? Yeah, so because I think you mentioned about, when you a student decide to use blockchain or not, then they need to consider the cost, right? So they would like you to elaborate more on this, please.
Okay, I saw the question. So first one, for the block cost, you can just look for example, Ethereum. Okay, and you can just simply look for the block cost there, and will cost you $few and per transaction, by the way. So every time you download or upload something to the blockchain network, you will have to pay the cost. And it is available online. So please go. All right, every different blockchain network will have different costs, and the costs vary as well. So I don't have the exact figure here, but you just need to look for most of the time I see the teams, they use Ethereum network, but now look, the cost is quite high as of now.
Okay.
Also think of you can also think of the Binance Smart Chain as well. It's one advice. And how much will it cost when we decide to set up a crypto network? I would say you want to build a new cryptocurrency, for example. It costs you, if you are a developer or programmer, it will not cost you a lot because the source code of most of the cryptocurrency are free. Okay, it's open source like Bitcoin network, and you can just use those source code to write new cryptocurrency. So in some sense, it is quite easy and cheap to create a new cryptocurrency, but to maintain a cryptocurrency and build a reliable network, it will take time and money, because the more time, think about the Bitcoin network. All right, why they are secure, because they have a huge network with a lot of people who try to invest in the infrastructure just to protect the Bitcoin blockchain network.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you. Another question. We will have 2 more questions, guys. The next question, can you share? We actually have like more than 10 questions here, and because of the time limit, then can we just answer 2 more questions for the students? And then for other questions, then we can, have them all here, and then we can answer later, by the email or something like that. Yeah. Now, can you share example of the application of blockchain in tourism industry? Thank you.
Is it me again?
Yeah, so the question is, can you share examples of the application of blockchain in tourism industry? Anyone, either you or Mr. Kung or Miss Win? We want to take this.
Well, I'll start first. When I mentored the last competition, I saw that a couple of teams trying to solve to have an application in tourism. But personally, I don't think it is worth it. Although they did try to say, hey, yes, they have all the information stored on the blockchain and then easily accessible to everyone. But personally, I don't think applying blockchain in tourism is worth it, really, because it's far too complex. We can just use a simple database with whatever the technology that we have as of now, and we can easily solve the problems. So that's what I think. Well, if you want, and Uncle, feel free to add more. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I think especially tourism right now is not a good sector anymore. You cannot travel, but I think for blockchain, as we said, it's a place for you to store the data. Let's say, if you use blockchain, if you use cryptocurrency to buy the air ticket, maybe you need it. If cryptocurrency is something you use every day, you can buy everything. Your air ticket, maybe you need it, or some security issues. For example, if you're afraid of being your identity was stolen by someone, and then it's like in the movie, if you go there and people say, hey, you're not here, you just checked in Holland, let's say, but I think it's not necessary right now to apply. I have never heard about any company doing in tourism applying blockchain at the moment. If there's any, I could love to explore, but as I second Hui, that is not necessary right now.
Thank you so much. And I think the next question, this is very short. I'm just going to answer very quickly. This is the student asked, can the alumni join the contest, please? So unfortunately, this is the competition for current student only. But then alumni, you can be a mentor for our teams, for the 6 finalists. If you are interested in it, then please let us know. Then the last question, now, what do you think of the potential of blockchain in keeping and distributing student records? In education, this is like applying in education, keeping and distributing student record. What do you think?
Well, there's I think there's a company that has already working on the solution for keeping the student record certificates. Well, again, when I talk about blockchain, I always think about, do we really need blockchain in that space? I just don't want people just to use the word blockchain as a buzzword and then think, hey, yes, I have a blockchain project here and sound fancy. No. Yes, it could be potential because it could help remove all the fraud certificate, like the problem that we have here in Vietnam. We have so many fraud degrees, etc. So when we apply blockchain in there, they have the potential to solve the problems. All right. So there is a potential to it, but we need to find a way to have more adoption to all the universities and all the government authorities to be involved.
Okay, thank you, Hui. Ms. Nguyen and Mr. Kuhn, do you have any opinion on this?
I think that question should, you should send it back to RMIT, further ask them whether they have a lot of school around the globe and, a lot of data of the student, whether they could like to apply blockchain or not. But I think again, it's with the system right now, and then you can, think about there's so many other different problems to solve in edtech at the moment before applying blockchain into that.
Okay.
Hey,
Thank you so much.
I want to add a little bit about
yes, please.
About the question. When I see a certain problem, like the problem of frauding the education record or something like that, there's quite many solutions. So you don't try to use some kind of blockchain to apply for everything. You have to ask, why do I have to use blockchain, not the other solution? Because some other solution is very easy to do or very free to do. Like RMIT can provide a CAN password for the student, so that or when they apply for a job, it just send a CAN password for employer to check on the website of RMIT. So quickly you can find multiple solutions very easy. Don't need to apply something so sophisticated like blockchain to solve simple problems. So that's that's my answer and my opinion.
Yep. Thank you very much, everyone. So this brings me to the end of our panel discussion. Many thanks, Ms. Nguyen, Mr. Kuhn, and Dr. Hui for your valuable insight. We very much appreciate you taking the time to share with us and support the competition. So now please welcome Dr. Nguyễn Thanh Bình, Senior Program Manager, Department of Economics and Finance, to deliver the concluding remarks. Please welcome Dr. Nguyễn Thanh Bình, everyone.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, students and interested participants. What a terrific workshop on world-changing topics that we just had. The future is already now. Our economy, society, and workplace move into the digital space, and fintech and blockchain are the backbone and the base layer for this digital world, where people become more free and financial services are truly inclusive. Imagine a world where everyone can work from and have access to financial services anywhere in the world. You could move to another city or region to live while still working for the same company and have access to all financial services that you are used to. Now, with this RMIT FinTech blockchain competition, you can become innovative leaders and build business solutions for a borderless digital world in which all of you will participate in the coming decades. This is the end of our workshop today. I would like to thank all guests of honor and participants at this workshop, and especially Ms. Quinn and Mr. Kung and Dr. Hui Pham for their wonderful insights. I look forward to welcoming you to future events and your fintech and blockchain project submissions. See you all.
Thank you.